Well, hello there, Mr. Bankster. We meet again.
Well, if it isn't my dear friend, Mr. Deadbeat homeowner. Are you still living in the home you haven't made a payment on in years?
Are you still stealing homes you have no claim to?
My good chap, I grow so tired of you and your ilk making absurd suggestions that it is somehow we bankers that are responsible for you not making your payments. We are doing God's work, for goodness sake.
Okay, perhaps you and your pompous attitude would like to indulge in a little debate about who is worse, a bankster or a deadbeat homeowner.
Very well, my boy. I'll engage you in your childish attempts at rationalizing your irresponsibility.
I'm honored you will join me in the discussion. First, let us examine the worst things a deadbeat homeowner could have done.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, let us start at the beginning. I took out a loan that I had no chance of repaying unless property values continued to increase.
Precisely.
I even grossly exaggerated my income when I applied for the loan, and provided no verification of my claims.
Indubitably.
But you gave me the loan.
And you were blaming me for being generous while you lied on your loan application.
No, but I am suggesting that you were equally as culpable on this point. First, if you had never created a no-doc mortgage product, a scumbag like myself would have never been able to even apply for such a loan. Second, in just as many cases, mortgage brokers themselves were the ones altering the applications or advising applicants to do so, simply so the deal would go through. I might suggest that we have come to a draw on this point.
Hardly. I suppose the next thing you will suggest is that some evil banker held a gun to your head to force you to stop making your payments.
No, but I will suggest that by not making my payments I am abiding by the terms of the mortgage. The agreement is, if I fail to pay according to terms, that the owner of the note and mortgage have the right to take the property. The only reason it seems like that is a bad deal is that property values have plummeted.
Precisely, and you are leaving me with a rat hole that has lost all its value.
Allow me to remind you that it was mortgage brokers, appraisers, and inspectors that ratified and confirmed the aspects and value of the rat hole that you offered financing on. You as the bank should have conducted due diligence to confirm that the property you were financing met the criteria to take the risk. Furthermore, regarding my lack of payment, as bankers you have been doing the very same thing with commercial property you own, but I believe you refer to it as returning it to the creditor.
Now, old boy, let's not change the subject. You still don't deserve a free house.
No, I don't deserve a free house, but I am abiding by the terms of my agreement when I fail to pay. It only sucks for the note holder because of your shortcomings in your underwriting standards, and your approval of a loan based off of your appraisal of my rat hole. The fact you would incur any losses is a direct result of your lending practices. You wouldn't be bitching if property values had increased.
But you took out a loan you knew you couldn't make the payments on, and stopped paying. You have caused this whole problem.
You gave me a loan you knew I couldn't make the payments on a property that you knew was nowhere near the value of the loan you were giving me. I would call that a draw as well. However, that pretty much covers the worst things a deadbeat homeowner has done, and in fact in many cases your so-called deadbeat took out a 30-year fixed with a payment they could afford but simply lost their job in an economy that bankers have destroyed.
But my dear boy, that is preposterous. And why on earth would I give you a loan I knew you couldn't repay?
I would call it control fraud, and it is the point where our equality in the blame game ends. You see, while at worst I may be considered an opportunist who tried to use other people's money to make a quick buck, you on the other hand began to blatantly defraud people at this point in the process.
Absurd. Now I know you have been taking a few puffs of the wacky tobacco.
Not at all. You see, the reason you would give a loan to someone who had no business applying for it on a property that had a questionable value was because you were turning around and selling it to someone else under the guise that I had a six-figure income and my rat hole was a palace. You were made whole immediately by selling the loan bundled along with other crappy loans as mortgage-backed securities to unsuspecting pension funds, municipalities, school districts, foreign nations, and retired grandmas on fixed incomes.
Oh, come now. Surely you don't expect anyone to accept that an ignorant neophyte such as yourself could comprehend the complex world of finance. I might suggest you leave such a task to the more worldly intelligent creators of such complex financial instruments.
Yes, I suppose that you would like me to leave that explanation to the gurus that created the MBS along with the geniuses who rated the piles of canine excrement as AAA so that unsuspecting investors would buy it. But it gets worse.
Do spare me, old chap.
I wish I could, but this is the part that really differentiates between you as a bankster and me as a deadbeat homeowner. You see, in testimony before Congress, banking executives have admitted to knowing that by 2006, at least 60% of the mortgages that they were selling did not meet the standards they claimed. Beyond that, many times the same mortgage was packaged into multiple securities, and most importantly, it is becoming apparent that very few, if any, of the notes and mortgages were transferred into the trusts as is required by law. In fact, oftentimes notes were destroyed so that investors could never really see what a load of feces you piled into the securities you spoke so highly about.
Please, your feeble mind has no ability to understand these complex matters. I suggest you return to watching Dancing with the Stars.
But we have not quite finished all the other wonderful things you banksters did in this process. Next, while selling the loads of MBS to unsuspecting investors, you actually placed bets against the quality of what you sold to investors as AAA. You actually profited by people defaulting, while investors were left holding the bag of doggy-doo.
Quite frankly, Deadbeat, you bore me.
My apologies. Then I will skip over the fact taxpayers bailed you out because you were undercapitalized and were too big to fail, and move right on to how you destroyed the title history of a great percentage of properties in our country.
Why don't you try making a mortgage payment instead?
Ah yes, you bring up your only talking point again. The sad reality is that even if I did make a payment, more than likely my payment would not be going to the correct party.
The correct party is me.
So you say. But in reality the correct party is some investor you defrauded. You see, over the last decade you have developed and implemented the Mortgage Electronic Registration System, otherwise known as MERS. You use this system to systematically destroy the title history of over 60 million homes by not properly recording mortgage assignments and county clerk records.
There goes your feeble mind again. MERS has been able to save the mortgage industry billions of dollars while electronically tracking the mortgages on our system versus the outdated county land records.
Allow me to translate that. Banksters have evaded paying billions in filing fees to counties while intentionally destroying title histories.
Preposterous. Why on earth would we bankers want to intentionally destroy the title history?
Because when I stop making my payment, you then pretend you own the mortgage and foreclose on it. You then sell the property, thereby perpetuating your Ponzi scheme and paying yourself another bonus.
But I prove in a court of law that I own the mortgage.
Yes, but your proof is made up of fraudulent documents that you make up out of thin air.
Oh, spare me. Are you referring to a few mistakes we have made in paperwork? Simply stated, the mere fact that so many of you deadbeats have stopped paying has caused us to work overtime, so we might have made a few clerical errors. But we have rectified that.
Certainly volume is an issue, but rather it is the volume of people, or robo-signers that you have deputized to sign hundreds of thousands of documents that amount to nothing other than perjuries and forgeries, each being third-degree felonies. You have enabled this process through MERS, and are fabricating the fact that you own the mortgage, when in fact you don't.
Then who owns the mortgage, and why don't you pay them?
I have no way of knowing who owns my mortgage, and to whom I should make a payment because you have intentionally destroyed the title history.
But you have stopped paying, and you certainly do not deserve a free house.
Yes, you have said that, and I agree with you. But to recap the contrast in the debate, you the bankster have done much worse. You have lied on applications, you gave lax oversight to the underwriting, you gave the loan to the unqualified borrower, you knew the loan was a pile of dog-doo and resold it to investors as a quality investment. You did this while profiting from financial bets you were making against the quality of the MBS. In addition, you were selling your own bank stock with the inside information that this entire mess would blow up. You packaged and repackaged the same mortgages while destroying the original documents to cover your tracks. You did this while evading paying billions of dollars and filing fees to the counties that are burdened with cleaning up the mess you caused, and that are being adversely affected by plummeting property values and a reduced tax base.
Boring.
You then have committed countless acts of felonious perjury and fraud by producing fake documents in order to take possession of homes that you have no right to. And you did all this while being bailed out by the taxpayer.
Yes, but you don't deserve a free house.
This is true, but however, you do. It is called prison. Stop the looting and start the prosecuting. In fact, kill your TV and pay more attention as to how bankers have destroyed our country and the rule of law. You owe it to your country to become better informed. Check out blogs such as marketticker.org, Zero Hedge, Mish's Global Economic Analysis, and foreclosurefraud.org for more information.